Hey, what's going on, guys? All right, for today's shave, we're going with summer break soaps, and it's History 101. As you saw in the lather video yesterday, it lathers up very nicely. It's a tallow-based soap. For the razor today, it's going to be a Gold Dollar 1966 with the red acrylic scales, and Aftershave is going to be the also summer break soaps History 101. And I'm using the Maggard, emptying out some of the water here. The Maggard knot that you've all seen before. So, right there. All right. So, let me empty my mug and put some fresh water in here. So, summer break soaps, I was correct. It's I'm not sure if they're still teaching or if they're just former teachers, but the husband and wife both taught or are still teaching. And that's kind of, they started this, I'm assuming, on one of the summers. So that's kind of how this got its origin. You can buy it directly from Summer Break Soaps on their site. Also, you can buy it from Maggard Razors. It's $16. It's a 4-ounce tub, so that comes out to $4 per ounce. So it's a bit on the pricier side, in my opinion. And it's not other than the name, Summer Break Soaps. There's nothing really, it's a good soap. There's no doubt about that. It's a good soap, but nothing particularly special, I guess I'd say. That's the load. About 10 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and rinse off the tub. When I say there's nothing special, what I'm saying, or what I'm trying to say, is just, it's not, for a 4-ounce tub of soap, jar of soap for $16, it seems a little pricey, in my opinion. I'd say $14 is okay. Again, I think it's a great soap. I'm not taking anything away from the soap itself. I'm just saying, compare it to a sterling soap, which has very close to the same ingredients. So, all right. So while I'm lathering, I'm going to go ahead and read the ingredients to you guys. The post shave, as I put in the description of my lather video, was very good. I believe I said excellent, and that's very true. The post shave is very nice with this soap. So the ingredients on this, and I'm reading them from, I guess how you'd read it is the most to the least as far as the amount of ingredient in here. So it goes stearic acid, beef tallow, glycerin, coconut milk, aloe vera liquid, water, potassium hydroxide, shea butter, grapeseed oil, coconut oil, sunflower oil, cocoa butter, yogurt powder, castor oil, sodium hydroxide, fragrance/essential oils, lanolin, jojoba oil, tocopherol acetate, and bentonite clay. And I'll kind of wipe off a little bit of water on there. If you want to pause the video and check those out for yourself, there you go. All right. So, History 101. Let me get a little bit more water on my brush here. Is a very, I would say, masculine scent. Scents are definitely subjective, but when I go over the description, you'll understand what I mean. And I think the name History 101 is spot on. So, when you think of the history of America, what do you think of? Or I guess history, period, right? But there's gunpowder, the old muskets. Gunpowder is in this. Leather, or gun smoke, I'm sorry. I think on their site it says gun smoke. And I'll kind of go over what the notes I pick out of this. But that's why I'm saying gunpowder, because gunpowder, actually I load my own, getting a little bit off track here, but I load my own ammunition, and this smells a little bit. So anyways, leather, gun smoke, dirt, tobacco, sawdust. And then it has top notes of clary, sage, and allspice. So those are the notes here. The leather is something I pick out almost immediately. And I don't really get too much sawdust. I don't get too much tobacco, dirt, or regular smoke or gun smoke, but I do get a little bit of gunpowder. Gunpowder and leather. That's the predominant scent for my nose. It's rounded very well. This scent is blended very nicely. So I'm assuming that's why it's a bit more difficult to pick out, adding a little bit more water here to the brush. This stuff can take water for days, by the way. In the lathering video, I really didn't show that too much, because all I did, and you can see, add a little bit of water. Look, you build the lather more and more. And that's why I'm saying 10-second load is, it will suffice. But it's blended very well. The scent's blended very well. And although I can't pick out my nose can't pick out specific scents other than the gunpowder and the leather. It's a very masculine and nice scent. Whenever I saw leather, gun smoke, dirt, tobacco, and sawdust, I was like, yep, I'm in. I've got to try that soap. And so that's what I did. Obviously I purchased all the soap and the aftershave from here. So, all right, I think that's definitely good. I can keep going with this and build this lather up. But it's definitely good enough to shave at the moment. So, like I said, it's a tallow-based soap, and that's where we are. There's really, in my opinion, there's no gripe on this soap other than the pricing. And $16 for a soap isn't terrible. It'll last quite some time, I'm sure, especially doing only a 10-second load. You're gonna get your use out of this soap. I mean, it's not gonna, you're not gonna use it all up within a month or two if you use it every day. So it's gonna last due to the fact that you can load for a short period of time. It really reminds me of, hold on one second. It reminds me of Midnight Stag from the Grumatorium. Midnight Stag. Ron, I can't remember Ron's last name, but Ron's the actual artisan at Grumatorium, and there's a couple other things he does on the side. But it's that masculine leather. That soap that I'm speaking of, the Midnight Stag, has also leather in it, but it also has, I think it has smoke or gun smoke in there, but it also has gasoline. That's a scent profile, gasoline. And I definitely like those type of scents. And this falls right into that category, no doubt. This is a very, very slick soap. We're about to fall off the end of the razor there. All right. Very slick soap. You could easily do a straight razor shave with this, with no worry of, as Ruds says, the blade skipping. No worry whatsoever. Yeah, so I had about 2.5 days of growth. I shave in the morning and I didn't shave yesterday, so this morning was 2 days because it was 2 full days. And then, you know, I'm shaving, this is in the evening of Friday before the 4th. So happy Independence Day to everyone in America, or 4th of July, as most people know it as. You know, I find it funny because I watched a video a couple years ago. This wasn't a recent video, but it was on YouTube and I could probably still find it now. And they were kind of, it's one of those videos kind of where they go out and they ask people questions. Just the general public. They're not they're not picking specific, at least I don't think they're picking specific based on how old they are or anything. They're just asking people. And the question was, and this isn't going to be verbatim, but it was something like, what else is the 4th known as? You know, July 4th. And everybody, I mean, there were some people that did get Independence Day, but most people were like, well, that's 4th of July. That's when you shoot fireworks and everything. They had no idea what the meaning was. You know, and that's sad. Coming from America, that's sad. I don't know if the education system failed those people. And we're not talking about, like, it wasn't just college kids or high school kids, or, I mean, they were asking adults, you know, 30 plus year old. I mean, it's just sad that people don't know what Independence Day truly means for America, but whatever. You know, I gave up on that battle long ago because it's a lose-lose of trying to, in my opinion at least, and from what I've seen, it's a lose-lose in trying to educate people that don't want to be educated. That's a real issue in America. And I'm sure it's an issue everywhere, but definitely in America. It's a real issue of people not wanting to be educated about truths and about facts and about the history of America. And it's funny, I'm talking about the history of America. Like, I can go off on a rant. I'm not going to. But that wasn't, like, I'm not trying to play into the soap name, the History 101. I'm not trying to play into that. That just popped up because, you know, the 4th of July is tomorrow, Independence Day. And I remembered that YouTube video, The History of America. But it did play in nicely, didn't it? Tonight, I'll actually go and watch a couple other YouTube shavers give their experience with this soap. I typically, I don't do that prior to me using a soap for the first time because I don't want it to taint my experience. And I don't want to regurgitate what someone else says when I myself haven't experienced it. For instance, when I first started wet shaving and watching videos, I wasn't recording videos yet, but there was a couple of soaps that I purchased, and I watched the videos on the soaps before I got them, obviously, and that's why I purchased them, which is fine. But when I received those soaps, I was expecting to smell a certain scent, and I didn't, but I kept telling myself I did smell that scent. Not that I actually did, but I just, it's just what we do. We try to confirm our bias on things, and although I really didn't smell the particular scent in that soap, I kept telling myself I did because this specific YouTube guy did. So all I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to portray anyone else's views on a soap or anything, or scent profiles or anything like that other than my own. So I don't like to watch. If anything, what I'll do, and I have done this, I'm going to add a little bit more water to this. Try to make it a little bit more thick, a little bit lighter. Anything, I'll look at another video or a video on a soap, but not the same, like, because of the base, the base isn't so subjective. I mean, I guess it could be because of skin types. Skin types could be different, so just because the base aftershave works well for my skin doesn't mean it's going to work well for your skin. I guess that's subjective as well. But I'll look at bases, or the same base, just a different scent. So I won't be going off of this scent that I purchased. But, oh, this stuff is great. 10-second load. I don't know. I have a ton left in there. Look how thick it is still in there. I mean, really. I might be able to do 7 seconds. A 7-second load with this soap. And it would be enough, So I'll write that down and use 7 seconds next time I use this soap. And that just, that's just, to me, the proof is in the pudding, and the proof that I can go less than 7 or 10 seconds of a load with a it's a damp brush, not dripping, but it's a damp brush. That reduces the amount of soap I'm using. That reduces the amount of waste. And soap is cheap, but if you don't have to, have a little weeper right there. If you don't have to overuse, it's probably better not to. All right. A viewer sent me some some razors that his grandfather had and used in, I believe, World War II. He said war. I'm assuming it was World War II. So, 75 plus years. And, man, that is awesome having, first off, that's a piece of history. And second, I mean, my grandfather's gone. I'm not sure if this gentleman's grandfather's passed on. But to have something that your grandfather shaved with 70-something years ago, and now you're able to shave with that, that's pretty damn cool. That's awesome. That's a really, really cool thing that not many people get the opportunity to have in their possession. And I kind of told him that. I mean, some of them looked, I mean, you're talking about very old equipment. Some of them looked a bit old. Nothing that, I didn't see anything that you couldn't fix up by just using some mother's buff and a little buffer wheel or something, So yeah, that's really awesome that he has those. Really, really cool. All right, let's try this pass. Let me put a little bit of soap on here. Well, I don't really need all that, but just on my upper lip. The Fool's Pass is what I think they've coined this, but yeah. And you better have a sharp razor when doing that, because if you don't, it's going to lead to problems. Because what will happen is it'll pick up the skin. That's a good shave. It'll pick up the skin, right? So as the razor's coming up, the skin will raise. Even though I do this, I do that to kind of stretch and tighten the skin. But if you don't have a sharp razor, it'll pick the skin up, and then eventually the skin's going to come back down. So when it comes back down, it's going to come down, and even if the razor's semi-sharp, you're going to slit your top lip wide open. So, all right, that was a good shave. That was a good shave. I can't complain. The scent, to me, is about a 5 or 6 from the puck, and it stays 5 or 6, when lathered. It may be increased a little bit. It might go from if it's a 5, it might go to a 6. If it's a 6, it might go to a 7 or 6.5. It does increase a bit, but it's not. There's nothing drastic about it. So, History 101, aftershave. Yeah, leather, gunpowder. Oh yeah, this is right up my alley. I really like that. And you see how it has a nice stopper in here as well. You can see I could turn the entire bottle upside down and nothing comes out unless I shake. And that's a good design. It's a very good dropper. Mm-hmm. Whew. This stuff smells great. It's got to be in your wheelhouse. You've got to like these scents. But if you do like these scents, I can guarantee you're gonna love this soap. Oh, that was a really nice shave. So I had a couple weepers. I had one there. This is an alcohol-based aftershave, by the way. And my weepers aren't crying, so we know that they weren't bad cuts or anything. Oh, yeah. Woo. That is a good shave. Holy cow. All right, just to reiterate what we used. Sometimes I talk too fast. And anyways, Maggard 28mm fan knot badger. It is History 101's soap and aftershave from Summer Break Soaps. Very good soap. Absolutely no complaints about it. Again, price is a little high. Price is also subjective. So $16 for me is a little high. For you, you may say, well, that's not a bad price at all. Okay, perfect. Soap's great. And for the actual shave itself, we went with the GD. Oh, it's on this side. Sorry. The GD 1966 straight. So, hope you guys have a good 4th. Happy Independence Day. And I'll see you next shave.